taking angel numbers up a notch into, yes, the perception and vantage point and interpretation of your eternal self, which is in a connection point of the higher mind and higher heart, might ask you to revise them, their meanings. Isn't that possible? Do you understand why that's possible? Because if you're coming from higher mind and higher heart, you're definitely going to be looking for more of what's right than what's wrong. So some of these numbers have been manipulated. That's the word I'm using here. That could be a judged word. I understand that, but we're going to allow it for a minute so the mind can really move quickly through the space. My personal take, and you need to have yours, is that the understanding of that numbers being given meaning that may have been done in a way to maybe keep people from those numbers, possibility, because they actually hold a very powerful, energetic vibration and frequency for expansion. But the space of contemplating the possibility of certain numbers being given, yes, manipulated meanings or interpretations, that actually is a blessing. You can label it that way if you choose. I have. Why? Because then I'm still coming from what's right, and then I'm going to flow in a different rate and in a different way. And how can it be right that they were manipulated? Because they were manipulated, and I gained awareness to understand that, that's a flag to myself, or a notification to myself, a confirmation to myself that I am observing at a different space of my being. I'm not observing from fear that says, ooh, if you check out at the grocery store and your order comes to 666, you better buy a pack of gum. That's how I was raised. I'm not blaming my mother. I just can smile now and say it's okay if we don't buy the pack of gum. All right. Are you with me? Do you see how I'm going to look at that? Okay. So 13's another one. We've talked about this in another course of space here and there, but 13's another one where, you know, some buildings won't even put a 13th floor in because people don't want to stay on the 13th floor. They think it's a bad juju, bad number, whatever. Yet there's really old teachings that really they're not that old, because I think the earth's way older than what we've been told. But there's some pagan maybe spaces of understanding of the number 13. Yes, that have to do with the goddess and extremely powerful flows of frequency and vibration. But why would that be we're not going to go Debbie Downer here, so I'm not going to go all the way down that road. I think everybody in this class is smart enough to understand why one or a few of the world may want to not have these powerful numbers being utilized by the masses. Are you with me? Okay. Okay. So what we're going to do here today is I'm going to go over the content from the PDF, and then we're going to look at these numbers together. And I want to talk about a couple of ways that we can be open to the base knowing. So the basic spaces of the understanding of the numbers that we've learned them as, and then what else is coming in? What else is coming in on these spaces with these vibrations and these numbers? Okay. So let's look at this together here. Oh, 1212. How lovely. Right when I look down. Okay. All right. So this is the PDF space, and I've been enjoying doing this with you. I have not done this in another course yet, but these spaces aren't as large to read. So this is a one-page excerpt from the Understanding the Full Meaning of Angel Numbers from your PDF. So angel numbers are a means of communication and a conveyance of vibrational alignment and flow. I'm going to stop right there because that is enough for a class in itself. But let's just look at it for just a minute. Means of communication means, of course, you probably get this. IC 444 or 44 or 40, 44, 44, anything with more than two, you know, pretty much. And I think for me, I think stable as the table. So whatever space I'm in, because tables usually have four legs. If they don't, they fall over. But most of the time, Yes. So when I see the fours, I think whatever I'm conveying to myself is this is a stable space. This is a strong space. This is a good foundation space. This is a space you could build upon. Does that make sense to you? Okay. So that's like a basic means of communication. And then there's a conveyance of the vibrational alignment and flow. So what I'm doing is I've been seeing in my mind's eye, my imagination, my visualization, a table, an actual table and that stability, or a foundation being built and that stability. And I lean into that. And then the space of the vibrational alignment and flow, I start to imagine the energy moving off of the visual of the foundation or table, the numbers themselves, and into the spaces I'm connecting with at the time. So if I'm working on something for work and I run into the fours repeatedly, I would be like allowing myself to see the vibration of energy actually moving through the field all around me, all around whatever I'm creating for work. If it's something going on in the family and I see them, I'll see the energy going to the family spaces. Are you with me though about allowing ourselves to understand the message, but then get the visual? Go in the imagination, go inside the visualization, because everybody can do this. And it doesn't have to be the way I'm describing it. You can have your own way of seeing it, but see it. Why? The minute you see it, you're better chance at being it. All right. There's these increments of us that we're understanding the way in which we be us, right? The way we think, the way we speak, the way we feel, and the way we act. And all of them add into the strength of the rope of us, if you will. Do you know how a rope has a bunch of different pieces that get put together in a braid and then it's nice and strong, right? And if you take one of them out, it's still pretty strong, but you've just got three now or whatever. And you take another one out and you're just living off of sheer this or that rope's getting a little bit more work it's having to do all on it on that one space of the way that it's being that rope. But if you allow all the spaces in which you're being you, yes, your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, your words, let all these spaces line up. Does this make sense to you? And when you do this visual, you're like allowing that energy to go through all the spaces of which you are being you. Yes, in connection with whatever it is you feel the message is connected to. All right, now 333, 1111, 1212, 888, and all combinations offer messages of confirmation and guidance along with energy alignment. All right, that's what we just talked about. This is a space we've been not giving enough power to. It's been there all along. And we've been doing really good with, oh, here's a message. I'm seeing 1111 and whatever it means to you, right? But this next step is like propelling us forward in a really big way to control is not the perfect word, but like really utilize our energy in a more optimal way, understanding the alignments. Okay. Because you are and this is not in the PDF, I'm leaving it every few sentences. I know it's confusing probably, but it's all right. Because we are becoming these higher beings of light in human formats, we are, yes, teaching ourselves ways in which we can implement that fit our human format, like use your imagination, use your visualization, pay attention to the world around you. But always what you're asking yourself to do is look one step further, be open to one space past what you've been looking at, not just the beautiful cardinal and connection to past loved one, but and what's the cardinal doing? But then can you see the cardinal as energy? Can you see the bird as flow, or the wind as flow, or the whatever the sign is, and the numbers as flow, as energy, connecting in with whatever the communication is you feel you're being given? Does this make sense to somebody? All right. Okay, great. Most likely, you have the understanding that when you see numbers in certain patterns, you are being given a message. You may have specific connotations that you have applied to various patterns. For many, 444 is a sign that everything is stable as a table. The meanings have expanded greatly as more and more people have created their own take on the numbers. This is why it's so important to own your energy, own your interpretations, own your truth, because you can look up any number nowadays and get 3 different meanings usually. And animals, have you noticed that as well? Animals used to kind of be more standardized, and if you saw this, you know, oh, turtle means blah, blah, blah. But now this guy over here thinks turtle means blah, 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 and this guy over here means, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's what we're asking ourselves to do, is leave this box of, it has to be this specific meaning or this specific energetic alignment, and be more present with ourselves and whatever the communication is, number, animal, whatever, and really listen through the higher mind and higher heart to the communication being more allowed to be present. Yes. So when I show up for a class or a group gathering or anything, I'm very present and I do my best to have an idea of what we're going to do. And I usually have some vision and insight, but I never box it to where I could really rehearse it because it's so present. Does that make sense to you? So one of you reached out and had some questions on the Sedona trip, and I loved what you said. You said, I appreciate that you're laying out the ceremony like this, but I understand we're going to be different people when we get there because it's months away. And I'm open to you just allowing the space because it's so much more powerful when we're present with the energies. And that's exactly what we're talking about with reading the numbers even. You can look them up. You can take others into consideration, their understandings and their teachings on what a number means. But then always go back to, does it mean that to me? Does it mean that in this now? Because maybe it meant that to you with some other experience, but with this particular message of communication, you're not feeling it. Yes, you're asking yourself to maybe flip it on its head, and maybe it's not stable. Maybe you have a moment, you see 444, you're working on getting this new job you're not too sure about, you see 444 everywhere you go, and you're like, stable as a table. Boy, this just doesn't feel stable as a table. Well, maybe this one's not. And maybe this one is you listening to you, trusting you, and allowing you at another level of you in which it's you try to tell you it's the opposite of it. So maybe you pay attention and all of a sudden you start seeing some other little piece of the puzzle coming in. Maybe it's actually, I mean, this can sound crazy, but it's really not. It happens to me all the time. Maybe then you start seeing something about like, like a flip, like a spatula commercial, flip the pancake. And then you start seeing a gymnast, flip, 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 flip. Or you start, anyways, you start bringing yourself flip. You see a dolphin, flip, 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 whatever it is. But you see it repetitively and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm asking myself to flip 444. Does this make sense to you? Because the messages are getting more depth to them, because you're moving into a space of your higher consciousness where you are asking yourself to utilize more of your intuition, to allow it to expand further and be beyond anything that's been written yet. Okay? Okay, so let's see.